always in slow motion, so they're
All right, welcome this morning to the last workshop of the conference. This presentation will include a slideshow of the Lungwort and its aesthetic, poetic, mystical beauty, and an herbal history as viewed through the doctrine of signatures to the present day. Our speaker this morning is Jeff Hinich, and following Jeff will be Nikita Pokrovsky, who was unable to make it on Friday. He was delayed at the airport, and he'll be presenting on his topic. And I don't believe there are any other announcements for this morning.
Thanks, Michael. Did everyone get a postcard?
yes.
Leslie, we missed them. We've given out some postcards of the Lovaria pulmonary, the Lungwort. It turns out to be one of Henry's favorites. He mentions it, and I think I really like to start with a quote from him, just to center myself, center the room. From the journals, November 25th, 1858. It is a lichen day, with a little moist snow falling. The great green lungwort shows now on the oaks. Parenthetically, he writes, strange that it should be not on the pines close by. It brings life and immortality to life. And then a few months later, he writes, going over to the nut meadow on Jimmy Miles' farm, on Jimmy Miles Road, when I see the sulfur lichens on the railings, brightening with moisture, I feel like studying them. It's a relish and a tonic. It makes life go down and digest well. That's the true use of studying lichens. He writes once more after his trip to Maine Woods. In Maine Woods, he meets Joe Polis, and at some point, Joe says, show me any plant and I'll show you a use for it. And I think that starts a whole other way of him looking at nature. This is 1857, third trip to Maine Woods, 18. In about that time. And at some point later in his journal, he writes, I boiled a handful of rock tripe for more than an hour. It produces a black puff. He's looking now at other ways of looking at plants. Certainly for him, it's always, most importantly, an ecosystem participant, large and small. But it's also for him, he mentions again, as it being a salve for his eyes. And the postcard you got, it's a lungwort near Lake Superior where I live. And it's, in the rain, it takes on this neon glow. It just really pulls you to it. He talks about, bathe your eyes in the brightening light of the woods. I looked upon it as if it was a fellow creature. Many ways that he uses it. So he blends from medicinal for eye salve to medicine he takes to metaphors of speech for ways of improving our lives. Curiously, this plant is a crossroads of many. First of all, it's 3 different plant kingdoms participating to produce that plant. I use the word somewhat loosely. It's a symbiote of fungi, cyanobacteria, and algae participating on a vascular plant. By us, it's a sugar maple. When Henry saw it, it was an oak. That could have been a companion species, Lovaria corsicus, I'm not 100% sure. I wasn't even sure coming down from Canada if I would see it here. And coming down through Killington, Vermont, I was steered towards some old growth, and I walked in there, it was getting near sunset, and I hadn't seen it. I'd seen some 300- and 400-year-old maples that should be here. And finally, I saw a giant I think it was on the Appalachian Trail at that point. I looked off, and I thought, that's got to be the one, because there was some moss kind of taking me around to the north side, and sure enough, there's a clip of it. Some of these slides in the background here, it's a photographer's dream come true. This place laying on the ground looking up the tree. Old growth trees are more than just old trees. They're all this is out west and on a white birch out in where my children live out in British Columbia. That's a western cedar. This is on our property. where the snow sometimes impacts on the north side of the trees, it provides that moisture that lichens love. They're willing to stay in that olive green sort of state until the moisture falls on it and they just explode. It's nice to see the snow today. That's on a poplar, also from the interior rainforest around Revelstoke. I haven't seen it on poplars here, but it could be. That's another place to look for it if you're in, maybe on the cottonwoods. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Could be.
Yeah, that's what we have.
This is a blinding snowstorm. That's one of my favorite slides. I don't really know where to start, but when this project, I have to thank the Thoreau Society. A guy calls out of nowhere from the wilds of Lake Superior, and Michael took a chance with this spring this year, and I'd like to thank him. And he started, my sister Leslie from California, Leslie.
Hi, everyone.
It started off on this 5 or 6 month project to produce a body of work that could support and do some respect and reverence to the plants and to Henry's words and to this group. And so we started off the one chapter in Waking with Thoreau. It's curious, most of my friends, some would not have heard of Henry and his walking essays, call it Walking with Thoreau. So we thought by writing Waking, we would get the walking and the waking. After having walked with Donald on the first day, I think that's helped us wake up when we walk, at least that morning in the rain.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes, so it was quite a project, and we wanted Henry on the cover, and that picture really caught our attention. And would you like to say a few words on how that came about?
Sure. We knew we wanted the 1856 daguerreotype on the cover. And this was the original that I started from. I like the one with all the blotches and the scratches and the anomalies rather than the cleaned up version. And so I started with that, and then I wanted to incorporate some subtle colors and collage elements to fit in with the story. So I changed it to a softer, this is all kind of technical stuff, but just to let you know how it started. The technical as far as Photoshop. Added a sepia kind of tone to it, and then his eyes were really important to him. So we wanted to get the blue-gray eyes that they speak of in the texts. Specifically, we have a reference from Ellery Channing. Henry had the deepest set blue eyes that could be seen in certain lights, and in others gray. Eyes expressive of all shades of feeling. And from Emerson, deep set, but very wide open, clear eyes of clear blue-gray. And there's also a chapter in the book, Waking with Thoreau, Lungs of the Lungwort, that refers to the eye color.
Yeah, we kind of came to this as this could be an opportunity to make that leap and speak with Henry really directly, to botanize with him, since I came to the woods after he had departed. So in this book, there's every attempt made to discuss it in the present tense. Henry is totally immersed in study when I come upon him, comfortable in his cloth, a sprig of andromeda in his hat brim. He turns to regard me, and there's that same steadfast gaze from the daguerreotype. The boggy surroundings lend him an earthiness, his sky eyes bluing through the sepia. I dare to speak, knowing full well it might shatter the sequence. Can I read one? We have not simplified. I'm talking to him now. This is my chance. We need help. We're in serious need of help. We have not simplified. We are desperate still, although not quiet. The very air is now polluted. Nature in full retreat. Our leaders are callow and clueless. Only a few poets hold true.
Back to the daguerreotype, it was evident to me, my little close focus, that there were orbs in the photo. Now, orbs are something I noticed in photography, and I don't know what they are. They could be dust specks. They could be water droplets. They could be, and some people think of their spirit emanations. But whatever they were, I noticed them, and there is one visible here towards his lapel. And also in the original, there's an acid blotch or some kind of blotch on the daguerreotype. It kind of calls to mind a boutonniere. So we thought, well, he's got to have a Lungwort boutonniere. So from Jeff's photographs, I carefully crafted a little, you're going to see it closer when you come up here, but a little boutonniere for Henry. Now on the original, as I say, there's this orb here, but I found that on the uncropped version there was also one right above his, I guess you would call his crown chakra, and which got lost in my close-in version. So I decided that I wanted to try to recreate an orb. So I brought one down closer to the part in his hair, and you can see it here on the picture. So this became a starting point for Jeff's story because we were back and forth. I'm in California, he's in Canada. We're working on this together, and did you notice the orbs? And from there, he started a chapter in the book called Orbs in Orbit that we'll maybe read a little bit from. Let's see. So the other orb, I'm thinking, why did I put that there? Well, maybe when Henry was sitting in the stifling studio getting his daguerreotype process, where he had to sit very still, I'm sure. Maybe his mind was going to a cooler climate. Maybe he's thinking about the ice formations on Walden Pond, because he writes about the very clear and beautiful spherical bubbles that form in the